Now, let's get into your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent because anything you say can be and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the state. So now, here we go. The police and your Miranda rights. I'll bet you can recite your Miranda warnings just from watching television. That's a pretty safe bet. Let's up the ante. I'll bet you would have no idea what any of the rights actually mean when you are confronted by an officer reading them to you. Doubt me? Let's pretend that each of the Miranda rights is a bullet, and I'll pull each in the gun chamber. Now let's pretend that your misunderstanding of any of the rights is a trigger that could be pulled to end your life or of freedom. Do you want to play Russian roulette with me? I don't think so. But that's exactly what you are doing when you speak with the law enforcement without understanding what they can and cannot do. What exactly are my Miranda rights? Your Miranda rights, named after the famous case Miranda versus Arizona, are a summary of the constitutional rights you have during a police interrogation. The rights are based on your Fifth Amendment rights against self incrimination and prevent the police from forcing you to speak against your will. At a bare minimum, you must be informed of the following. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney if you, and to have an attorney present during any questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you at the government's expense. But in practice, you may receive a more detailed warning and may even be asked to initial and sign a statement acknowledging the following. You have the right to remain silent and to refuse to answer any questions. Do you understand? Anything you do say may be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand? Do you have the right to consult an attorney before speaking to the police and have an attorney present during questioning now and in the future. Do you understand? If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand? If you decide to answer any question now without an attorney present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to an attorney. Do you understand? Knowing and understanding your rights, as I have explained them to you, are you willing to answer my questions without an attorney? Every state does it differently. Sometimes it is a videotape, other times it is read from a card. You are not guaranteed to be advised of your rights in any particular way. The police are only required to advise you of your Miranda rights themselves. When do police have to read me my Miranda rights? If you are in police custody, meaning you are not free to leave or stop answering police questions, the police are required to tell you your Miranda rights whenever they want to ask you questions and use your answers as evidence at trial. Not every question is a police interrogation for Fifth Amendment purposes. To be an interrogation, the police have to ask you a question that could lead to you giving an answer that will get you in trouble. This is known as an incriminating a response. The question is not an uh, interrogation if the questions are not an interrogation if it only basic if they are only asking you basic questions like your name, age, occupation, or how you are doing, because normally the answers to those questions won't incriminate you. You are only required to be advised of your Miranda rights if you are being interrogated while in police custody. The police are not required to advise you of your Miranda rights unless and until they perform a cut a when you're in custody and they're trying to interrogate you. Be careful. If you are not in custody, the police are not required to give you your Miranda warnings, and anything you say can be used against you. So remember this. Even if you're not in custody and you talk to the police, everything can still be used against you. Police officers are permitted to speak to you while you are not in custody and even tell you that you are free to go to avoid giving you the Miranda warning. Your your continued interaction with the officer is considered voluntary. Any incriminating statements you make during the voluntary interaction can now be used against you. Police don't have to read you your Miranda rights unless you are in police custody. So let's get this straight. When you're being stopped and the police are just talking to you, all that could be used against you to build a case. So understand this. Don't talk to the damn police. If they ask you your name and unless you're being arrested, it's none of their fucking business, especially if you live in California. If they ask you where you're going, that's none of their fucking business. Am I being arrested? Am I being detained? Or am I free to go? Are you gonna hold me against my will? All right, goodbye.